Karen Dunlap, a popular social media influencer, left home last fall on a trip to Ohio, but she never returned home. Investigators found her body in Cleveland a week and a half ago, but they have no clues on what happened to her.
This is the abandoned building in Cleveland where police found her body. Empty rooms, broken windows, and silence. The final setting for a woman who once commanded the attention of 100,000 followers online. On January 18, 2025, authorities discovered 30-year-old Karen Dunlap, known to her fans as the Nude Queen or simply Raina, dead inside this vacant house on Francis Avenue. No phone, no ID, no explanation. Just 3 months earlier, she had been auditioning for Baddies Midwest, a reality show that could have transformed her from social media personality to television star. Now, instead of bright lights and cameras, her story ended in darkness and isolation. Her last post came on New Year's Day. Then, nothing. A digital star who built her brand on constant connection suddenly disappeared from the platforms that made her famous. What many didn't know was that before her disappearance, Raina had posted shocking statements on X, declaring that she wanted all black men killed and that black women should admit they are men. These inflammatory comments generated intense backlash online. After that, she made another post stating that she's not the first to want all black men to die. Did someone recognize the controversial influencer in Cleveland? Did her provocative online persona make her a target? Stay tuned as we take you through her life, the circumstances surrounding her death, and the mystery behind her death. This is the story of Raina Dunlap. Welcome to Crazy Dark Files, where we shed light on the darkest true crime stories to help raise awareness and promote safety. By liking this video, sharing, and subscribing, you're not just following a channel, you're helping give voice to the victims and also helping others become more aware and safety conscious.
It's been almost a month now and still no clear answers why Karen Dunlap went to Cleveland, who she was with, and how she got there. But these flyers still going around in hopes of finding out that information.
Karen Dunlap was a daughter, a sister, and a social media force from Prince George's County, Maryland. Born and raised in the area, the 30-year-old had built an impressive digital empire under the name Raina, or the Nude Queen. Amassing 82,000 followers on X, her content was bold, unapologetic, and often provocative. She knew how to capture attention in the crowded influencer landscape, crafting posts that generated conversation, sometimes admiration, sometimes controversy. This duality defined much of her online presence. She wasn't just posting content, she was building a brand centered on her magnetic personality. She loved being the center of attention, her mother Karen Jones explained in interviews following her daughter's death. She just wanted to be a positive or negative force in people's lives. This desire to make an impact drove much of Raina's content strategy.
It's horrible. I feel like somebody kicked a hole through my soul, and the biggest part of my heart is gone.
Karen Jones fights back tears as she talks about her daughter, 30-year-old Karen Dunlap, who also went by Raina.
She is my firstborn. I loved her dearly, and it's just, the pain is unimaginable. The worst is just not knowing.
Her daughter, who lives in College Park, Maryland, was found dead with none of her belongings and in an abandoned building in Cleveland, Ohio, January 18th.
She understood that in the digital age, being forgettable was the only true failure. Whether followers loved or hated her posts, they remembered her, and that was the currency she traded in. Living in College Park, Maryland, Raina maintained an independent lifestyle that sometimes meant limited communication with family. She was frequently traveling for work and personal projects, building connections and seeking opportunities to expand her influence beyond social media. Raina was kind, loving, and generous to a fault, her mother shared, offering a glimpse of the person behind the provocative online persona. She loved being around people. Her sister Kira described Raina as someone who was in and out of their lives, a free spirit who charted her own course. The family had grown accustomed to her independent nature, trusting that despite periods of limited contact, she would always be okay.
I can't really even function that well knowing that I don't know how my own big sister died.
Her family says they don't know why she was in Cleveland. They wonder if she may have gone to audition for Baddies Midwest, a reality show she was a fan of, but they don't know. The last time they spoke was in November.
With Raina, she was always in and out, so it wasn't like we talked to her all the time. We just always expected she's going to be okay.
But beneath the confident exterior was a woman with dreams bigger than social media fame. Raina had set her sights on mainstream entertainment. She wanted to transition from influencer to reality TV star, a path many social media personalities have attempted, but few have successfully navigated. The Zeus Network's Baddies franchise represented that opportunity. The popular reality show featured bold personalities competing for fame and recognition, a perfect fit for someone with Raina's confidence and camera presence. According to her sister, Raina knew some of the cast members and had met Natalie Nunn, the show's co-creator and star, before. This wasn't just casual interest. Raina was actively pursuing this dream, following the production as it moved through different cities. When Baddies Midwest began filming in Cleveland, it presented the perfect opportunity to make connections and potentially join the cast. She wanted to be on this show, Kira explained. She was following where the baddies were because she wanted to try to get on this show. For Raina, this wasn't just about fame for fame's sake. It represented legitimacy, a transition from self-made social media personality to professionally recognized entertainment figure. It was the next logical step in building her brand and expanding her reach. What she couldn't have known was that this pursuit would lead her to an abandoned building in Cleveland, where her story would end not with stardom, but with mystery and heartbreak. In late fall of 2024, Karen Raina Dunlap told her family she was heading to Cleveland, Ohio. The trip seemed routine for the social media personality who frequently traveled for opportunities and content creation. Her mother and sister expected regular updates, if not detailed itineraries, at least occasional check-ins to let them know she was safe. November 2024 marked the last time her family heard from her directly. This wasn't immediately alarming. Raina often maintained an independent lifestyle with sporadic communication. "We always expected she was going to be okay," her sister Kira later explained to reporters, reflecting on their family's understanding of Raina's self-sufficient nature. What made this trip different was its purpose. While Raina hadn't explicitly confirmed her plans to her family, they strongly believed she traveled to Cleveland with a specific goal: to audition for Baddies Midwest, the 6th season of the Zeus Network's popular reality show franchise. While her direct communication with family stopped in November, Raina maintained her online presence through the end of 2024. Her posts continued to engage her 82,000 X followers and 17,000 Instagram fans, giving no indication that anything was amiss. To her audience, Raina appeared to be the same confident, outspoken personality they had always followed. Then came January 1st, 2025, the date of Raina's final social media post. After consistently maintaining her online presence for years, building her brand post by post, she suddenly went silent. No updates, no responses to comments, no interaction with followers. For an influencer whose livelihood and identity were tied to constant digital connection, this silence was profoundly out of character. Days passed, then weeks. Her followers began to notice her absence, commenting on her last posts with increasing concern. Where was the nude queen? Why had she stopped posting? Had anyone heard from her? Her family, too, grew worried when they noticed her social media accounts had fallen silent. For a mother and sister accustomed to Raina's independent lifestyle, it wasn't the lack of direct communication that raised alarms, it was the break in her carefully maintained online presence. "That's when we knew something was wrong," her mother Karen Jones later told reporters. "She would never abandon her platforms like that, never." What happened during those silent weeks between January 1st and January 18th remains largely unknown. The timeline creates a disturbing void, a period where Raina's movements, contacts, and experiences vanish into uncertainty. Was she still pursuing the Baddies Midwest opportunity during this time? Did she meet someone who led her to that abandoned building on Francis Avenue? Was she staying somewhere else in Cleveland before ending up at the location where she was found? These questions haunt her family and followers alike. The gap between her last digital footprint and the discovery of her body represents a critical period that might explain how a vibrant 30-year-old influencer from Maryland ended up alone in an abandoned Cleveland building. What's particularly troubling is that no one has come forward claiming to have spent time with Raina during these crucial weeks. No friends reporting last conversations, no acquaintances mentioning casual encounters, no witnesses placing her at specific locations. Just a disturbing silence that mirrors her sudden disappearance from social media. For a woman who lived so publicly, who shared so much of her life with thousands of followers, to vanish so completely seems almost impossible. Yet that's exactly what happened to Karen Raina Dunlap in the early days of 2025, a digital presence reduced to silence, a physical presence reduced to mystery. On January 18, 2025, Cleveland police responded to a call about an unresponsive woman in an abandoned building on Francis Avenue in the Kinsman neighborhood. What they found inside would send shockwaves through social media platforms and devastate a Maryland family waiting for news of their loved one. The body of Karen Raina Dunlap lay inside the vacant structure, with no personal belongings surrounding her, no phone, no purse, no identification. The 30-year-old influencer, known for her glamorous online presence and bold personality, was discovered in circumstances starkly contrasting with the image she had cultivated for her followers. The abandoned building stood as a silent witness to whatever had transpired in Raina's final moments. Located in Kinsman, an area of Cleveland far from tourist attractions or entertainment venues, the vacant house raised immediate questions. Why was she there? Who had she been with? How long had she been inside before being discovered? Cleveland police confirmed the discovery to local news outlet Cleve Scene, providing few details beyond the location and identity of the deceased. The building itself offered few clues, just another empty structure among many in an urban landscape, now transformed into a scene of tragedy. What made the discovery even more puzzling was the complete absence of Raina's possessions. For a woman who lived much of her life online, the lack of a smartphone seemed particularly out of character. Had her belongings been taken? Had she arrived at the building without them? These questions remained unanswered as investigators processed the scene. Almost immediately, Cleveland police indicated they suspected an overdose as the cause of death. This preliminary assessment, shared before any toxicology reports or detailed examination, would become a point of fierce contention with Raina's family. They suspected that it was an overdose, her mother Karen Jones later told 19 News, her voice tight with emotion and certainty. I said my daughter has never used hard drugs, talked to anybody. Jones didn't just casually dismiss the police theory. She challenged it with the conviction of a mother who knew her daughter intimately. I will stake my life that the toxicology is going to come back that she did not have any hard drugs in her system, she declared. This clash between official speculation and family knowledge highlighted a crucial aspect of Raina's case: the potential disconnect between public perception and private reality. While investigators may have seen statistical patterns that led them toward an overdose theory, her family possessed personal knowledge that pointed them in a different direction. The Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office took custody of Raina's body to conduct an autopsy and toxicology screening, but results would take weeks to process. In the meantime, her death remained classified as suspicious, with no official cause determined. News of the discovery spread quickly through social media, the very platforms where Raina had built her following. Her fans expressed shock and disbelief, many refusing to accept the overdose theory that had been floated by authorities. Comment sections filled with speculation, theories, and expressions of grief from people who had never met her in person but felt connected through their screens. For her family, the discovery marked the beginning of an agonizing journey for answers. The abandoned building had yielded their worst fear, confirmation of Raina's death, but provided almost nothing in the way of explanation. How had their vibrant, ambitious daughter and sister ended up alone in a vacant house in Cleveland? What circumstances had led to her final moments? These questions would drive her family to take extraordinary measures in their search for truth, refusing to accept simple explanations for a life that had been anything but simple. When Karen Jones received the devastating call about her daughter's death, she knew immediately that she couldn't trust the official investigation alone. Within days of learning that Raina had been found in that abandoned Cleveland building, Jones and her younger daughter Kira Dunlap packed their bags and made the nearly 400-mile journey from Maryland to Ohio. "The worst is just not knowing," Jones explained, her voice breaking during an exclusive interview. This uncertainty fueled their determination to find answers themselves, transforming grief into action as they arrived in an unfamiliar city with a single mission: discover what happened to Raina. Armed with stacks of flyers featuring Raina's photo, contact information, and a plea for information, the mother-daughter team began methodically canvassing Cleveland neighborhoods. They focused particularly on areas near Francis Avenue, where Raina's body was discovered, as well as locations where Baddies Midwest filming or auditions might have taken place. "We know she was shopping there," Jones explained, describing their grassroots investigation. "We went to some of the places she shopped, put up flyers, and talked to people who said they recognized her." Their efforts yielded small but significant results. At least 2 Cleveland residents recognized Raina from the flyers, confirming they had seen her shopping in local stores during the weeks before her death. These witnesses provided a crucial detail that contradicted the overdose theory. They described Raina as appearing perfectly fine and in good health during these encounters. "She looked normal, healthy," Jones recounted one witness telling her. "Nothing about her seemed off or concerning." These accounts reinforced the family's conviction that something beyond an accidental overdose had occurred. If Raina had been seen looking healthy and normal in the days or weeks before her death, what had changed? Who had she encountered after these sightings? The timeline became both clearer and more confusing with each new piece of information. Despite these small breakthroughs, the family hit walls of silence when trying to determine who Raina had been with in Cleveland or why she was in that specific abandoned building. No one came forward claiming to have spent time with her, invited her anywhere, or seen her enter the vacant house. It was as if Raina had been visible in public spaces but invisible in private ones. A troubling pattern that suggested she might have been with someone who didn't want to be identified. Back in Maryland, the family launched a GoFundMe campaign with 2 specific goals: covering funeral expenses and hiring a private investigator to look into Raina's death. "We need someone who will ask the questions the police aren't asking," Jones explained. The campaign also mentioned their desire for a private autopsy, a costly but potentially revealing procedure that might contradict or confirm the official finding. Perhaps the most heart-wrenching aspect of the family's search came through Kira Dunlap's emotional plea on TikTok. In a tearful video that quickly gained attention, Raina's younger sister issued what she called a call to action for anyone who had been in contact with Raina in the month before her death. "It's very, very important because something bad has happened to her and we're trying to figure out what happened," Kira said through tears, her voice breaking as she addressed viewers directly. "If anybody knows anything, please message me and let me know. I'm really counting on you guys." This pointed question suggested the family believed Raina hadn't traveled to Cleveland alone or spent her time there in isolation. Someone knew something, and the Dunlaps were determined to find that person. The family's search continues today, driven by love and an unwavering commitment to uncovering the truth. "I can't really even function that well knowing I don't know how my own big sister died," Kira explained, highlighting how the absence of answers compounds their grief. For Karen Jones, the investigation is both a mother's duty and a path through overwhelming loss. "I feel like somebody kicked a hole through my soul, and the biggest part of my heart is gone," she said, her determination visible through her tears. As weeks have passed since the discovery of Raina Dunlap's body, the case remains shrouded in mystery. Despite the efforts of both police and family, critical questions persist, gaps in understanding that prevent a complete picture of her final days and the circumstances of her death. Perhaps the most perplexing question centers on the abandoned building itself. Why was Raina in that specific vacant house on Francis Avenue? The location in Cleveland's Kinsman neighborhood isn't known as a gathering spot, entertainment venue, or even a place where people typically seek shelter. It stands isolated, unremarkable among other empty structures, yet somehow it became the final setting in Raina's story. The building had no apparent connection to Baddie's Midwest filming locations or audition venues. It wasn't near shopping areas where witnesses reported seeing her. Nothing about the location aligns with what we know of Raina's purpose in Cleveland or her typical habits. This geographical puzzle piece simply doesn't fit with any narrative that has emerged so far. Equally troubling is the question of companionship. Who was Raina with during her time in Cleveland? For a social personality who thrived on connection, the idea that she navigated an unfamiliar city completely alone seems unlikely. Her sister Kira's focused quest to identify who Raina was with in Ohio suggests the family believes someone accompanied her, someone who has yet to come forward. This silence from potential companions raises red flags. If Raina was with friends, acquaintances, or new connections, why haven't they identified themselves to police or family? Their absence from the narrative creates a conspicuous void that fuels speculation about possible involvement in or knowledge of the circumstances leading to her death. Another disturbing element has emerged as investigators examine Raina's social media history. Prior to her death, she had posted controversial statements on X, including comments that she wanted all black men killed and that black women should admit they are men. These inflammatory posts generated significant backlash online. Investigators must now consider whether these statements could have motivated someone to harm her or if they placed her in danger while in Cleveland. Did someone recognize her from these controversial posts? Did an online dispute escalate to real-world violence? The timeline itself presents another critical mystery. What happened between January 1st, the date of Raina's final social media post, and January 18th, when her body was discovered? These 17 days represent a black hole in the investigation, a period where Raina's digital and physical presence seemingly vanished. During this window, did she continue pursuing opportunities with Baddie's Midwest? Did she meet new people? Did she attempt to return home? The complete absence of digital footprints during this period is particularly striking for someone whose career and identity were built online. This silence speaks volumes, but exactly what it's saying remains unclear. The reality TV audition angle provides context, but not conclusions. While family members believe Raina traveled to Cleveland specifically to audition for Baddie's Midwest, no official confirmation has emerged that she actually participated in or attended any casting events. The production company has remained notably quiet about any potential interaction with Raina. She wanted to be on this show. She knew some of the cast members, her sister explained. But did these connections materialize into actual opportunities? Did Raina meet with cast or crew members? Did rejection from the show potentially play a role in her mental state or subsequent decisions? These questions remain unanswered. The police theory of an overdose adds another layer of complexity. If toxicology reports eventually support this conclusion, it would raise even more questions. Where did Raina obtain substances? Was this a one-time occurrence or part of a pattern unknown to her family? If her mother's insistence that she never used hard drugs proves accurate, then what actually caused her death? Each unanswered question branches into others, creating a web of uncertainty that continues to entangle both investigators and loved ones. The absence of Raina's personal belongings at the scene, particularly her phone, eliminates potential digital evidence that might have illuminated her final communications and movements. Raina Dunlap's tragic story illuminates the shadowy underbelly of influencer culture, a world that promises fame and fortune but often delivers isolation and vulnerability. Her journey from Maryland to Cleveland, from social media star to victim found in an abandoned building, serves as a stark reminder of the risks that accompany the pursuit of digital celebrity. For influencers like Raina, the pressure to achieve fame can become all-consuming. With 82,000 followers on X and 17,000 on Instagram, she had already achieved a level of recognition many aspiring content creators dream about. Yet the allure of mainstream recognition, the transition from social media personality to reality TV star, proved powerful enough to draw her to an unfamiliar city, potentially placing herself in dangerous situations. For aspiring reality TV contestants, these dangers multiply. The competitive nature of shows like Baddies Midwest creates an environment where boundaries may be pushed and safety considerations overlooked in the quest to stand out. Audition processes often lack transparency, leaving hopefuls like Raina to navigate unfamiliar cities and situations without clear guidance or protection. Perhaps most troubling is the disconnect between carefully crafted online personas and real-life vulnerability. Raina projected confidence, independence, and fearlessness to her followers. Her provocative content and controversial statements painted the picture of someone untouchable, immune to conventional threats or dangers. This digital armor, however, provided no actual protection when facing real-world risks. The influencer industry itself bears responsibility for creating safer pathways to recognition. Reality TV productions, talent scouts, and digital platforms could implement verification systems, buddy protocols for traveling contestants, and clear communication channels with emergency contacts. As we follow Raina's story, we must recognize that behind every profile picture, every provocative post, and every bid for viral fame stands a real person, vulnerable, complex, and deserving of protection. The currency of likes and followers should never be valued above human safety and well-being. Today, the investigation into Karen Raina Dunlap's death continues with more questions than answers. Cleveland police await toxicology results that will either confirm or refute their initial overdose theory, while her family remains convinced that something more sinister occurred in that abandoned building on Francis Avenue. The Dunlap family continues their parallel investigation, determined to uncover the truth regardless of official findings. Their GoFundMe campaign aims to fund both funeral expenses and a private autopsy, a procedure they believe will reveal crucial information about Raina's final moments. They've also expressed interest in hiring a private investigator to pursue leads that might otherwise go unexplored. Any bit of information would help, Karen Jones pleads, addressing anyone who might have seen her daughter in Cleveland between November 2024 and January 2025. This sentiment is echoed by Kira Dunlap, whose emotional TikTok videos continue to seek witnesses who might shed light on who Raina was with during her time in Ohio. The family plans to hold a memorial service in Maryland, bringing Raina back to the community where she was raised before her ambitions led her to Cleveland. This service will celebrate not just the online personality known to thousands of followers, but the daughter and sister known to those who loved her most. For the influencer community, Raina's death has sparked important conversations about safety protocols, support systems, and the very real dangers that can lurk behind the pursuit of fame. Her story serves as both a warning and a call to action for platforms, productions, and personalities to prioritize protection over publicity. As this case develops, new information may emerge that shifts our understanding of what happened to Raina Dunlap. The abandoned building, the controversial posts, the reality TV audition, all these elements may eventually connect to form a clearer picture of her final days. What do you think happened to Raina? Share your theories in the comments below. If you have any information about her time in Cleveland or her connections there, please contact the Cleveland Police Department or reach out to her family. Remember that behind every true crime story is a real family searching for answers, and in this case, that search continues today. If this story touched you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Crazy Dark Files, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next in-depth investigation.